Hello, hello. Happy Monday, my beautiful friends. So today I am going to be making a very tasty autumn snack, and it's actually going to be some pumpkin protein muffins. So they're going to be delicious. These are probably one of my favorite snacks to make. They're high in protein, they're low in carbs, and they're really, really quite tasty. And eating clean and eating healthfully is always better when it has some good flavor. I don't know about you, but sometimes I find myself like gagging down a dry chicken breast and eating broccoli is not sustainable. And I don't know about you, but I also really like to eat. So, welcome to my kitchen. Um, First, we're going to mix up our dry ingredients. I've got my fancy little KitchenAid here. You can probably see the handle of it, right? So that's my KitchenAid. All right, and in front of me, I've got have a few ingredients. I have 3 cups of almond flour. Okay, I'm doubling the recipe. Okay, so you can always half it and make 2 pans or make 1 pan of muffins, but I'm going to make 2 because I really, really love these muffins. So I've got 3 cups of almond flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 cup of vanilla protein powder. Okay, and then I also have my pure pumpkin. Okay, I will be taking a cup of this out, I believe. Let me double check.
I can't write that fast.
It's okay, I can review it.
Okay, sorry.
Uh, yeah, pumpkin. Yeah, 1 cup. Okay, so I will actually be doing 2 cups of the pumpkin puree. So 3 cups of almond flour. I'm going to go ahead and put these in my KitchenAid. Okay. 2 teaspoons of baking soda, also going in the KitchenAid. And in the baking soda, I also put 1 teaspoon of rock sea salt. You don't have to have rock salt, but there's something so decadent and delicious, I think, about just stumbling across a chunk of salt in your muffin. So I like to use the whole rock of salt, and so that's good. Next, I'm going to put my 1 cup of vanilla protein powder in here. Okay. Now we're going to move on to some of the spices. I've got cinnamon here. Okay, just any kind of cinnamon will do. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. All right, so 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and do try to make it level, which for me personally is very difficult, but I really like how there's that lip in there, you know, and you just kind of scrape the spoon across. So I've got 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of cocoa powder, so just natural Hershey's baking cocoa powder. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of that. Okay, again, try to make it level if you can. Okay. Then we've got some allspice. How much allspice? It's got half a teaspoon of allspice. So just a little guy. That's a quarter. There we go. Okay. So half a teaspoon of allspice. You'll notice that you use allspice in a lot of like your fall cooking, your fall baking, from apple pie to pumpkin pie to sweet potato pie, and even some pecan pies. So it kind of gives you that seasonal flavor. All right, so you've got that. Then I'm going to put some cloves in there. I do recommend taking off the shaker lid. That way you can just stick your whole measuring spoon down in there, okay? And shake it off, make sure it's level. Pop it in the bowl with all your other dry ingredients. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm just mixing up all my dry ingredients. Okay. And then last but not least, cardamom, okay? It's surprisingly delicious, even though it has very interesting. Cardamom will be used in things like, well, baking, and anytime you're looking to make something sweet. It's not really a savory thing, but I honestly once thought it was. So I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of this. Put that in there. Okay. Those are all my dry ingredients. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and just mix those up in my KitchenAid. So excuse the noise. All right. There we go. It's nice and slow on that. I just put it on a 1 for measuring or for stirring it up. Otherwise, you're going to get almond flour all over the kitchen, which is super fun. But nobody wants to clean up that mess. Let's just be honest, right? So that's all done now. So now I'm going to add my wet ingredients. Can you get me some eggs?
Yeah.
And some ginger.
Okay.
I need.
What's ginger?
I need 6 eggs.
And what's ginger?
Worry about your eggs first, okay?
Okay.
She's my little helper. God bless her. So I'm going to do 2 cups of pumpkin puree, right? So, and then this I just kind of eyeball. So there's 1. This is a bit of a
Here's one.
Thank you. Well, with your can, if your cup won't fit in there, just grab a knife or something and scoop it out. Right? You will probably, if you get a larger can, you'll probably have plenty left over for smoothies, some pumpkin latte smoothies in the morning, which are really good if you like coffee and pumpkin spice, right? So there's my 2 cups of pumpkin. All right. And then we have 6 eggs we're going to add to this, all right? So we've got some nice farm fresh eggs because we are very fortunate to have chickens. So there's 1. But if you don't have farm fresh eggs, just use what you have available to you, okay? There's 2. 3. Thank you. These still have poop on them. Sorry, guys. Let me just clean off my eggs real quick. As much as we love poop, we don't want to eat it.
Ew, Mommy.
Yeah. Well, there's poop still on the egg.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with these.
All right. You can throw those away. Okay. So 3 more eggs. So there's 1.
Are these the nasty ones?
No, those are fine. 2.
No.
We don't have any that's going out to the chickens.
Oh. Okay.
3. Fun fact, if you have chickens or ever want to get chickens, they actually do eat their own shells. It's a fantastic source of calcium for them.
And that's disgusting.
And it's just a good source of nutrition. All right, so I've got that. Next I'm going to add in a 1/2 cup olive oil, okay? So I am going to grab, where's my measure? Excuse me. So because, I don't know, does anyone else's 1/2 cup measuring cup ever go missing? That seems to be the one that goes missing first around this place. So I'm just using 2 1/4 cups because my 1/2 cup seems to have run off. Yes, and those are our measuring spoons, huh? Okay, so now we've got those. And thank you, Lena, stop. And I'm going to add in a cup of honey. Okay, I've got this fantastic honey that I actually got out in Nebraska. It's called buckwheat honey, and it's very dark and kind of resembles molasses as far as flavor goes. It's not as sweet as regular honey, but it is really, really quite tasty. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to eyeball about a cup in here, okay? You can measure it out, but honey's kind of one of those things that's pretty tough to measure, and once you measure it, it doesn't want to leave the cup, right? So this is something that I personally eyeball. I know it's not recommended, but we're just going with it, right? So that's roughly a cup. Put the cork back in that. Okay, I'm gonna fish out some ginger out of the refrigerator. Now we're gonna go ahead and mix all those wet ingredients while I find my ginger. And you can put that on slow to medium speed. And you can use dry ginger or wet. Personally, I really like the more fresh, potent flavor of the wet ginger. You can use fresh if you want. I like getting it in a squeezer container or some sort of jar. And you're going to do roughly a tablespoon. Okay? I'll give it a nice, spicy, tangy flavor, which is super fun. So we've got that. Okay. There's that. All right. So now that that's all mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and take off my little mixer thing. And I'm sure one of the children will love to be the ones to lick it clean because that's what they do. All right. Over here on the stove, I have assembled my muffin tins with, what are those? Cupcake cups or muffin cups? I'm not quite sure what you call them. Stop. And then I'm going to take my quarter cup measuring cup, okay, and I'm going to put a quarter cup into each muffin cup, okay. I really found that I really, really enjoy the parchment muffin cups because once it's all baked, the muffin is all baked, they don't stick, the muffin doesn't stick to the paper and it comes off pretty easily. It almost slides off, which is pretty fantastic. They do cost a little more than regular muffin cups, but they work really, really, really well as far as making sure you're able to enjoy most of your food. And for those of you who really enjoy these muffins, you won't want to stop eating them. So I don't see how that's a bad thing, being able to eat the whole muffin and not, you know, be caught with your face in the muffin cup as you're, you know, licking it clean. I'm sure I'm the only person who's ever done that, but, you know. All right, so I'm almost done with these. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to make the topping so that you guys can see what we put on these instead of like, so normally, you know, with like cupcakes or muffins or that sort of thing, most people like to put some sort of frosting or something like that. But I am going to actually make a hemp seed, pumpkin seed, cocoa nib mixture that'll go on top, and it just makes them nice and crumbly and delicious. So that's really, really good. If you guys are wanting to find this recipe online, you sure can. The website that I refer a lot of you to, because it is probably hands down my favorite recipes, is thebettyrocker.com. So scope her out. She's got this recipe as well as many, many others on there. And she's just doing a fantastic job. So if this is something where you've missed something and you're like, oh, I missed that detail, I missed that ingredient, what was that again? You can find it on thebettyrocker.com. All right, so I put a quarter cup of the muffin mixture into each of the muffin cups, and you'll see that I do have some left over that I will be using a little later. Okay, you guys need to go. You're causing chaos. All right, so our mixture, our topping, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bowl. Okay, and in this bowl, I'm gonna put 3 tablespoons. Go. So right here, I'm going to do, actually, it's 6 tablespoons of hemp seeds because we are doubling the amount that we're making, right? So hemp seeds, you can get them in the refrigerated section at natural grocers, or you can also find them over by the, what is it? Over by like the cereal or the baking aisle, King Supers. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hemp seeds are actually a fantastic source of protein as well as some good omega-3 fats. So I do recommend getting these. You can also put them in your smoothies, which are delicious, and any other baking or anything that you're doing. I like to put them in my trail mix as well. All right, then we have coconut flakes. About 4 tablespoons is what the recipe calls for. All right, and again, remember, I'm doubling this. So if you're not doubling it, you're just going to do 2, but because I am doubling the recipe, I'm going to do 4 of these, okay? They're super, super good. And you want to make sure that your coconut is unsweetened, okay? So we got that, all right? Next, I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of pumpkin seeds. You can also use walnuts or pecans or anything like that, okay? I'm going to do a 1/2 cup. This is actually a 1/3 cup. So I'm going to do a 1/3 plus a little bit, okay? So we've got that plus a little extra. It's roughly a 1/2, right? And then you can do cocoa nibs or dark chocolate. I am using cocoa nibs. I honestly found these when I was out in California a couple months ago, and they're just the chocolate bean, the cocoa bean, and they're crushed. So it does taste like baker's chocolate. It's very bitter. It's not sweet at all. If you want that sweet, you can use dark chocolate. So that's really good too. So I'm going to go ahead, and this again calls for a 1/2 cup. So I'm just going to eyeball it again. So we've got the 1/3 cup plus an extra, right? A little extra, not a full 1/3 cup, but just a little bit more. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stir this up, and I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of this mixture onto each muffin, and it's just going to make it really crumbly and delicious on top. It's really just so, so, so tasty. I just absolutely love it. Love, love, love it. But I'm going to move my computer over here so you guys can see what it looks like, okay? So there's my pumpkin, right? Like that. Okay. All right, so 1 tablespoon of this topping mixture on each muffin, okay? It will fill up the muffin cup. Do not be alarmed. Do not be aware, or do not be aware. Do not be alarmed. This is totally normal. As the muffins bake, they will expand, and your topping will just absorb right into the muffin. It's really quite delicious. And sometimes you'll have some little extra fellows that don't want to stay in the muffin cup. And that's always exciting, right? It's like having trail mix with your muffin. Super good. So this is going to be, oh gosh, guys, I got to tell you, I'm so excited for these. These are so, so, so good. So good. Oh, yum. And as you could tell by my sweet children who are hanging around the kitchen, you know, begging for scraps practically, they are also looking forward to these sweet treats. And they're good. I mean, honestly, a serving size is about two muffins. So you can have 2 muffins, some carrot sticks for your snack, and not feel bad at all. Okay, there's a little extra of the topping mix, just as there was of the pumpkin protein muffin mix. So this is what they look like when they're all topped off, right? Looks so good. So now I'm just going to pop these in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Put them in the middle rack or the top rack because you don't want your bottoms burning. I have run into that with this particular recipe where the bottoms do burn. which is a little frustrating. So if I can save you that frustration, I sure will. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 25 minutes on that. Okay. And that, my darlings, is how you make pumpkin protein muffins. Super easy, pretty quick. I mean, we did that in 20 minutes, whipped it all up, right? The longest part is the baking, and when you pull it out, let it cool a little bit, and then enjoy. They're super, super good. I'll bring some tomorrow for those of you who got on this webinar so you can enjoy those, because almost like you were in my kitchen cooking with me, right? You guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything I can cover for you?
I have a question, but I can't text it. Sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead and ask.
I'm gonna ask, do you think it would work, excuse me, okay to switch it out, almond oil and the oil, or I'm sorry, almond flour for coconut flour?
The coconut flour would not be a one-for-one switch, because coconut flour is much, much drier. So it'd actually be, so like we use 3 cups of almond flour, you would actually use 1/4 of that. So it would be like 3/4 of a cup is all you would need of the coconut flour because it is so dry.
Oh, 3/4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing with coconut flour is if you're going, I would recommend mixing it because it is really dry, and it kind of, when you bake with it, it can resemble a very chalky texture, which is kind of horrible. But what else?
Think about the olive oil, switching that out with coconut oil.
Yep, you could do that too. You definitely could. And that would just be a one-for-one swap. The recipe calls for either olive oil or grapeseed oil or coconut oil. So olive oil is just what I have on hand right now, so that's what I used. But yeah. What else? What other questions do we got? Awesome, awesome. Well, these have about 20 minutes left, or 22 minutes left on them, maybe, I think. Yep, 22 minutes. So they'll be done in 22 minutes, and they'll be delicious, and I'm going to clean up. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you at boot camp. All right, talk to you later. Bye.